Hey everybody, welcome to the Buffalo Plus YouTube channel. Mike Catalano along with Dan Fates. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. It's a busy week for us here in Indianapolis. Yep. We're getting set. The Combine beginning on
Tornado
Tuesday.
watch.
Yeah, tornado watch here in Indy. As we're landing the plane, they're coming in. By the way, tornado watch.
No big deal.
Is that some sort of
Does that
omen?
stop the Buffalo Plus coverage?
No, not at all. Every team coming in, I guess except the Colts. They have enough of their own issues. So
yes,
we'll see what ends up happening. I mean, in terms of other teams traveling to be here. Bills Brass is here. It's a big off season. Dan, we've talked about this on the channel. There's pressure on this entire organization. They're here. They need to get here.
Right.
It's a jump. There's really pressure on Brandon Beane.
Yeah, we disagree in the sense of the most pressure he's ever been under. I thought it was with Josh Allen in drafting your franchise quarterback. You say it's right now because they're close and you need to be able to get over those hump. However you want to say how much pressure, and ranking the seasons that he's been under pressure, this one is massive. It feels different after coming off the playoff loss to Cincinnati where they got blown out. And after the season, Beane talks about how he understands the pressure on himself this offseason.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to be creative. We're going to try and win, and we're going to do everything. I started out by thanking Terry and Kim, and they'll give us every resource, and it's up to me to figure it out. And we're going to put as strong a team as we can out there, and hopefully we're hosting games next year. That's the goal. We're not going into this year saying, hey, I don't think we're going to be as talented as we were last season or in 2020 when we went to the AFC Championship. We just got to we got to hit on draft picks. We got to find low cost free agents that can find roles, whether it's key backup, a solid starter, whatever it is, and so it'll be on me and our scouting staff to make the right moves.
And we're expecting to hear from Brandon Beane tomorrow. That is Tuesday. He'll talk to the podium, to the general media, and then to us Bills media personally after.
Yeah, I mean, look, when I say there's pressure on him, I'll put it to you this way. There's pressure on Josh Allen, too.
Correct.
Was there pressure on him as a rookie and a second-year player? Absolutely. And then he elevated to this point. You got to get better. Yeah. Was there pressure on Sean McDermott to turn this mess of a franchise into a playoff team? Absolutely. There's massive pressure there. That's why I say it's because they've already gotten this high up the mountain.
Yes.
Beane has done that. Now it's higher because it's that next step, and it's such a big one.
Correct. And progress, we always talk about player development, not always linear.
Oh, that's true.
Like teams building also isn't always linear. Like, the Patriots were a dynasty for 20 years. Not every season were they continuing to get better. There were drop-offs, there were dips, extreme example. But I'm just saying that, even the Chiefs, teams, you have to rebuild and find ways to rebuild while also being in that window to win a Super Bowl.
Yeah, so they're going to get a chance. You talked about Beane. Talk to the prospects. He's been very focused on defense and the defensive line. It's broad picture here.
Yes.
But they have not spent the assets. Now, I will say this. They drafted Josh, number one. They traded a one for Diggs. But infrastructure-wise, Dan, where they have spent their draft picks has been on running backs.
Yeah.
Look at the draft capital they've used on Devin Singletary, free agent, Zach Moss, who's already traded, and James Cook, who looks like he's going to be the starter going into next year. I don't think that's the place you spend your draft capital.
No, and it really hasn't been there, and a lot of the draft capital that they haven't spent on those running backs in the first 3 rounds have all been defensive.
Yeah.
And they haven't really panned out. So I said it before that you invest $250 million in your quarterback, you need to give him all the tools. You were just joking around about it. We were talking before this. Josh Allen is a Ferrari. You don't want to fill him up with crappy gas.
Yeah.
Put all of the tools. Doesn't mean you don't change the oil on the car just because it's really pretty. Take care of the Ferrari. Take care of him. Put pieces around him. I'm team wide receiver, and then you're probably team offensive line. But they need to find pieces that will help Josh Allen instantly next season. Not down the road, next season.
It's a combination of things they need to do. Look, I'm not saying you got to draft a wide receiver in the first round, but if the right one is there, take him.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you got to take an offensive lineman, but if the right one is there, take him. I probably would feel more comfortable with an offensive lineman a little later in the draft. Those guys come from all different ways. I am sick of seeing these wide receivers come into the league and be good to great, and the Bills not getting any one of those guys. Again, They got Stephon Diggs.
Yep.
Which was great. And they traded number 1, and we can go through that whole thing with Minnesota. That wouldn't have necessarily happened with the Bills. But I'm saying is, come on, at some point, while you want the guy to be good, give him something. Give him something extra. You could say that could come in free agency. It could come in a trade. But, man, it would be nice to get a stud wide receiver. He doesn't even have to be a superstar to begin.
Correct.
That is on that rookie contract, and then
Agreed.
you grow with him.
You look at the needing to add skill position players around them. Brandon Beane kind of talked at the end of the offseason, at the end of the regular season, that don't expect to be big spenders. I don't necessarily believe that. He said that last season and then found $120 million for Von Miller. But, Mike, there are big questions that will need to be addressed before they make any picks in Kansas City that are on the defensive side that don't directly impact Josh.
Yeah, they've got to make a call on key players. Look, I think Jordan Poyer is gone. I think most of you think that's the case too. Tremaine Edmonds is a key guy. I mean, do you sign him? Do you give him that money and then go from there and figure the rest of it out?
Yeah.
Look, if you don't sign Tremaine Edmonds, I'll put it to you this way. Signing him opens up a massive hole on the defense because Terrell Bernard did not look like a guy.
Not signing him.
Not signing him. If you sign him, you're spending more cap money than currently on his contract. Though it was a pretty high number for this past year because he was on that 5th-year option. Yeah. So, in fact, it's sometimes it's position-based. Sean McDermott talked right after the season. I found this interesting about the way they need to go about rebuilding, the way they look at positions, and the way they look at the 53-plus man roster of a team.
It's what we value, the positions that we value, because you can't pay everyone and you can't go get, all, elite players at every position. It's unrealistic in the modern salary cap era here. So we have to place proper value on the positions that we feel will help us win a Super Bowl, and then find those players at those positions that are going to help us win.
Yeah, that's interesting because sometimes it's guys who are at the end, Poyer. Yeah. Sometimes it's a guy who's at the end, but maybe you're going to bring back an Edmonds. And then sometimes, and I keep bringing this one up, it's a guy like Ed Oliver, who is a good player.
Yep.
And at times has been very good. But now the question is he worth it for you now? Is he worth it for you long term? We don't really know 100% of what they think, but they could have signed him now. And they didn't do that. So would you be looking to make a deal? I've said I would.
Correct. Yeah, I'm open to anything on the defensive line worth shaking anything up.
Yeah.
And if you don't think the juice is worth the squeeze there with Ed Oliver, and knowing that they are, while the salary cap isn't real, you are up against it with Ed's money, and it could, free up some. I can see the move happening.
Or what if a trade brings back offensive line help, brings back wide receiver help? I mean, again, this team's going to look different. There is no question it's going to look different next year. We're going to get to talk to Brandon Beane. I'm very interested in his mindset. And I've been a big fan of his. I think he's an outstanding general manager.
Agreed.
But I thought at the end of the year, and again, we were catching him just a couple days after the season.
Yeah, we talked about this in the pod.
I think he was a little defensive. I think he's going to be upbeat. I think he's going to be now
re-energized.
Re-energized.
You've taken a breath. He was. We talked about a little bit defensive.
Yeah.
Was sticking up for his guys, saying we didn't get run out of the gym in any game. We won 13 games. All those things. I've talked to a lot of Bills fans. My friends are Bills fans. It feels different this offseason.
Yeah.
There is. It's not panic, but there isn't that optimism that you had over the last 2 off seasons going into them. Going, man, we are real close. I was here last year all by myself, and I remember going, they could pick anybody, and they're going to be a backup. They need to find starters here.
Yeah.
They need to find impact guys because, while I do think they can make moves and sign players in free agency, they gotta hit on some guys.
They do, especially early. But I would tell you this, that there is also, you got to be smart. And while you want to draft that the guy comes in right away and is ready, boy, it would have been nice if they drafted a safety last year and was ready to step in because you knew already both those guys were going to be in their 30s. Now you're looking for a guy that may be a starter that you're drafting as safety. So that happens too. I think they're going to invest in the offensive line, skill position guys. I think that's going to be the plan.
I agree.
But we're also going to get some indications on free agency.
Do you want to clear up one thing? I was tagged in a tweet. I did not report at any point that Jordan Poyer and the Bills were in any type of contract negotiations. I don't know if you saw that.
No, somebody said you did?
Somebody said, they go, Jordan Poyer and the Bills are in contract extensions, and somebody goes, oh, who'd you hear that from? And they said, Dan Fates is reporting it.
No, he's not reporting that. It is funny.
I say a lot of dumb things, but
I tweeted out that Poyer was talking about him being in Florida. He loves it, loves the weather, doesn't love the taxes in New York, all that stuff. And I said that was in all, but the main reason he could end up with somebody like Miami is because he is a free agent and likes South Florida and all. And one of the people who liked that tweet was Rachel Bush, who is Jordan Poyer's wife. So I'm not saying she
likes
saying,
comments and subscribes. Like I'm sure she
does.
follows Buffalo Plus. Like all
I'm
of everybody.
saying is when I say that he could be with the Dolphins and she likes it.
Jordan meme.
Yeah. So anyhow, we're looking forward to this week. Make sure you come to the Buffalo Plus YouTube channel. We're going to have a lot of content, and like, comment, and subscribe. And we'll let Jenna on with us too, right?
I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, we'll be doing that too. So for Dan, I'm Mike. We'll see you next time on Buffalo Plus.